Good morning. It's morning here in Shanghai. I am Mrs. Reader Pants, also known as Lee Colazzo, also known as Mom. And today I wanted to talk to you about my new product, which I introduced the other day, but I had a couple of questions about how to actually use these on the shelves and where to buy the shelf label things that I demonstrated in my previous video. So I'm going to show you those again and show you some ideas to use these without actually having to spend a lot of money on shelf labels or shelf label holders. That way you can use things that are probably already available in your libraries. In fact, may help solve a problem that we all have with when we read books, what to do with them, because man, schools do not want to get rid of books ever. They think if it was barcoded at one point, it's supposed to live there forever, and it isn't. We need to get rid of these things, but a lot of times it's very difficult. So I'll show you how to use those books as well. So we're going to get started. Before I start, I wanted to tell you about the labels themselves, and in case you missed the previous Facebook Live from earlier this week. I will warn you that this is only my second Facebook Live ever, and while I'm nowhere near as nervous as I was the other day, it's still Facebook Live and it's still a little scary, so be gentle. There's also still drilling happening in the apartment downstairs, and I can actually already hear it, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear it. I have the door closed and I'm on completely the other side of my apartment. This is my 14-year-old son's room, but I can hear it, so hopefully you can't hear it, or it's not too distracting. There it is. All right, so the labels. I have some samples of the labels. These are on Teachers Pay Teachers and also on my blog store, www.readerpants.net, and click on shop. These are Dewey Decimal Shelf Labels. There are over 150 different labels, and I have them in two sizes. I have a horizontal size, which looks like this, and you could turn them up on the shelves as well. They're still very easy to read. But if you prefer, if you prefer to have them horizontally on your shelves, maybe at the top on the lip of your shelves, you could use these, or maybe on the top of the shelf, just laminate it and put it on like in a book holder or something like that. So that's the horizontals, and then I have the vertical labels as well. These are both the same width, you can see. They are about 2.5 to 2.75 inches wide. You could make them smaller though. I made this with a reduction of, I don't know if you can really tell, do this. This was a reduction of 90 to 93%. So you can see that it's a little smaller, so you can make them smaller if you need to in your printer settings. These are the full print. If you want to kind of get an idea of how wide they are, I know it's really hard sometimes to tell, oh, it's 2.75 inches wide. You can take a normal piece of, this is just a regular piece of printer paper, and for the vertical labels, if you put it in portrait style, or what did they call this, hot dog style back in the day, and you just fold it into thirds equally, you can see how wide the labels are. Now there will be a little bit of a margin on the sides, so you can cut that off, so it won't quite be, just trying to do it, just a rough estimate here, and you can see just a little bit of a edge there from where the margins are. If you want to see how wide the horizontal labels are, unfold your paper, and you're going to turn it hamburger style, or landscape, and you're going to fold it in half. These print 4 labels to a page, the horizontals, and then just fold it in half again. And you have the width of the horizontals and the height as well. Okay, so that can give you an idea of how wide they are and how large they are, and you can kind of compare on your shelves. Okay, so I did show you earlier this week my beautiful, I ordered these here in China, and I've had 3 people emailed me already and asked me where I got these. I got these here in China, so you are not going to be able to get these exact ones if you are not in China. If you're in China, email me. I'll send you the Taobao link. But you're probably not. So, but these are gorgeous. They fit the labels perfectly. These are available on Amazon, but even here in China, they're pretty pricey. This one was $10, just this by itself. On Amazon, I've seen them just for one upwards of $10 to $25. So the acrylic ones that are really nice are going to cost you. Amazon does have corrugated cardboard. They're called magazine files. That's what you would put into an Amazon search. They do have those. I have not personally used those, but it does say, if you read in the reviews, that they're sturdy, so you might try those. Those are quite a lot cheaper. You can get a pack of like 6 to 8 for about $15. Still maybe out of a lot of your budget, though. I know a lot of libraries, totally sympathetic to this, have no budget, unfortunately, and if whatever money you get, you're probably not going to want to spend it on magazine files. You want to spend that on books and your students. I totally understand. So I wanted to show you today, I'm really excited about this, some things that you can do with things that are probably already in your library that would help you to use the labels a little bit more easily, because you're going to need a lot of them. I've got 150. In this set, more than 150, it's like 151 or 155, I'm not exactly sure. But you probably wouldn't use every single label in your Dewey section, so that's to give you a lot of variety. But you probably will need 75 to 100 holders, so it can get pricey. So I have some ideas for you. My first one is, I imagine we all have some of these lovelies sitting around our schools somewhere. This is a textbook from my husband's school here in China. It is in English because his school does teach in English. And it's really heavy and bulky, and eventually we adopt new textbooks and we do not need these anymore. So what in the world do we do with them? Well, that can be very tough, can it? As librarians, a lot of us know that principals do not like weeding books. They don't like throwing away perfectly good books. I understand that. But at the same time, not every book was meant to last forever and ever and ever. So, hi Karina, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you, or see you virtually. So what I've got here, I have one textbook. Now, if this textbook, oh no, the label's too wide, there we go. The label is too wide. So what you can do, if you have textbooks that are the same, twins, you can hot glue in this area. I can't do this. I was going to prepare a demonstration one, but these are actually not weeded textbooks. My husband's school is relatively new, and they wouldn't like it if I glued their textbooks together. That would probably not be good. But what you could do is you could glue them together with hot glue. These are really heavy, and so these are going to stand up really nicely on the shelves. You can, once you've hot glued them and the glue has dried, wrap them in, you could do brown packaging paper, you could do some brightly colored wrapping paper, anything, brown paper bag, just take a brown paper bag and cover it. Cover it with something that, if you do wrapping paper, don't do too loud or wild, but maybe a solid color to represent the genre. So I did my 900 section in this yellow cardstock. You can also print, I have them in color as well. You can print the colored ones on white cardstock if you prefer white. So this is the horizontal one, so that's a little smaller, but the vertical, let's see, fits perfectly. So you can put this on there, and you not only get rid of these big bulky textbooks that you don't need, you also keep them out of the landfill, and which is great. And thank you, Tracy. Yes, great recycling idea. I can't see your comments, so if you have questions, feel free to pop them up, and I will answer them as I go. So one idea for textbooks. If you don't have textbooks laying around your library, or you've already gotten rid of them with new textbook adoption or whatever, you could use old weeded books as long as they're about the same size. You could glue together 5 or so, 10 or so. Hello, thank you for the like. So it doesn't have to just be these really thick textbooks. It could actually be thin picture books that are just old and you don't want them on the shelves anymore. It will keep them out of the landfill. You just have to do more of them, glue them together and wrap them, but it's a great way to get rid of them. Another thing that I recommend, I tried very hard here in China to find a binder that was like what I would find in the US. Unfortunately, here in China, I cannot find a hardcover binder. This one is bendy. It's pretty good quality, but it's still bendy. So I thought, oh, I don't know, hardcover binder would be better if you got like a 2 or 3 inch hardcover binder. You could definitely use those. In fact, some of them you can slide the labels down. You might have to trim them down a little on the sides and slide them down into the front. I don't have that, so that's okay. You might not have that either. You might only have these flexible binders. So what you could do, this one again was too thin, because I think this is a 1 inch right here. You could put them together. These would stand up just fine on the shelves by themselves. And again, wrap the paper. And there you go. Your label fits just fine. So probably would have to buy binders if you don't have, we're less likely to have those sitting around the libraries, but you could do that as well. So that is 2 great ideas using things that you already have in your library. If you have any questions, I've got another couple of minutes and I'm happy to answer them. Haven't seen anything pop up just yet. If you're catching this live later after I'm done, you can always email me at leigh, L-E-I-G-H, @readerpants.net. That's all lowercase. And I'm happy to answer your questions. I get questions all the time, and I check my email frequently. Sometimes you ask me some really good stumpers. I have to think about them. So it's still not seeing any questions popping up, and that is okay. So these shelf labels are currently 50% off. They will be on sale on my blog and on Teachers Pay Teachers through this Saturday at noon. I always do my times in Eastern Standard Time. I'm actually 12 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time here in Shanghai, so it's a lot easier for me to keep track. It's 9:12 a.m. here. It's 9:12 p.m. yesterday, Eastern Standard Time. So that's what I go with. It's just a lot easier. Okay, no more questions coming up. So I wish you the very best last day of school, or last day of the first week of school for my friends in Texas. And I hope you've had a great week. And if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Hi, Tamara, I do see you. How are you? Oh my gosh. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your week. And I do plan to do some more lives. I really enjoy doing this. I'm a lot less nervous than I was last time. Probably next time I'll be right where I need to be. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Yes, I want to end my video.